Judy Garland's 5 marriages, from romance to heartbreak. When we think of Judy Garland, we remember her iconic roles in The Wizard of Oz and A Star is Born. Judy Garland wasn't just a Hollywood icon. She was a legend. With her extraordinary voice and captivating screen presence, she became one of the greatest performers of the golden age of cinema. But behind the dazzling lights and standing ovations was a life filled with turmoil. Despite her meteoric rise to fame, there's another chapter of her life that often goes overlooked. Her complicated love life. 4 failed marriages, relentless pressure from Hollywood, and a lifetime of heartbreak. Did it all become too much? And which husband was by her side during her final moments? Join us as we uncover the untold details of Judy Garland's 5 husbands and the love stories that shaped and perhaps shattered her life. Judy Garland and David Rose, 1941 to 1944. Judy Garland was just 19 when she walked down the aisle with 31-year-old British composer David Rose in 1941. At the time, she was Hollywood's rising star, beloved by audiences, controlled by MGM, and still emotionally a child despite her fame. Their marriage began like a fairy tale, filled with love and the promise of happiness. The newlyweds settled into a home in Bel Air, not far from the MGM studio where Garland worked tirelessly to maintain her status as one of Hollywood's brightest young stars. But the romance quickly unraveled. Both Garland's mother and MGM studio head Louis B. Mayer opposed the marriage from the start, fearing it would ruin her wholesome image. But their interference was nothing compared to the emotional turmoil Garland would soon endure. When she became pregnant, her mother and Rose insisted she terminate the pregnancy, worried that a child would derail her skyrocketing career. The procedure was illegal and traumatic, leaving scars that Garland later said her marriage could never recover from. By their first anniversary, Garland was already miserable. She admitted to feeling like a child trapped in an adult world, unable to take care of a home, meet the expectations of a 1940s wife, or find true happiness in her marriage. 3 years after saying "I do," Garland and Rose parted ways, finalizing their divorce in 1944. Rose went on to remarry in 1948. But that marriage, too, ended in divorce. He would later earn 2 Oscar nominations before his death in 1990 at the age of 80. Judy Garland and Vincent Minnelli, 1944 to 1951. Judy Garland's second marriage seemed like a dream come true, at least at first. After divorcing David Rose, she found herself drawn to director Vincent Minnelli while working on Meet Me in St. Louis, the 1944 classic that cemented her status as a Hollywood icon. Minnelli, 20 years her senior, didn't just direct Garland, he reinvented her. He encouraged her to shed her girl-next-door image, hiring a makeup artist to transform her into a sophisticated woman. The result? A brand new Judy Garland, captivating an even wider audience. Their romance quickly blossomed, and on June 15, 1945, the couple exchanged vows in Garland's mother's home. The following year, they welcomed a daughter, Liza Minnelli, who would go on to become a star in her own right. But behind the Hollywood glamour, Garland's demons lingered. Her longtime addiction to amphetamines and sleeping pills, introduced to her as a child star, took a devastating toll. As her mental health declined, so did her marriage. After 15 years at MGM, Garland was unceremoniously fired, sending her into a deep depression. she attempted to take her own life twice, and in the midst of her personal struggles, she began an affair. The cracks in their marriage became irreparable, and in 1951, Garland and Minnelli divorced. Minnelli went on to marry 3 more times before his death in 1986, at the age of 83. Judy Garland and Sidney Luft, 1952 to 1965. By the time Judy Garland married Sidney "Sid" Luft in 1952, she had already endured 2 failed marriages and a lifetime of Hollywood pressure. But this relationship seemed different. Garland had known Luft since she was 15, but their romance didn't begin until 1951, when they reconnected while she was still married to Vincent Minnelli. Their affair quickly escalated, and when Garland became pregnant, Luft urged her to terminate the pregnancy to avoid scandal. Despite this rocky start, the couple married, and for a time, it seemed, Garland had found the protector she always longed for. Luft became more than her husband. He was also her manager, orchestrating one of the greatest comebacks in Hollywood history. Under his guidance, Garland landed a leading role in A Star is Born, 1954, earning an Oscar nomination and solidifying her legendary status. The couple had 2 children, Lorna and Joey Luft, and their marriage lasted 13 years, the longest of any of Garland's relationships. But beneath the surface, trouble brewed. Luft tried to control Garland's addiction, but his attempts only made things worse. According to his memoir, Judy and I, he admitted to enabling her dependency, managing her pills in an attempt to create a lesser version of the brutal regimen MGM had imposed on her as a child. By 1962, Garland's addiction had spiraled out of control. She withdrew from her children, often too intoxicated to be fully present. Their marriage finally collapsed in 1965. During their bitter divorce hearings, Garland accused Luft of being violent, testifying, "He struck me many times. He did a lot of drinking." Luft denied the claims, but the damage was done. After Garland's death, Luft attempted to sell her Wizard of Oz Oscar, adding another controversial chapter to their tumultuous love story. He passed away in 2005 from a heart attack. Judy Garland and Mark Herron, 1965 to 1967. Judy Garland's 4th marriage was yet another whirlwind romance that ended in heartbreak. The same year she finalized her divorce from Sidney Luft, she married actor Truman Mark Herron in a hurried Las Vegas ceremony in November 1965. However, rumors swirled that the couple had secretly wed a year earlier, while Garland was still legally married to Luft. At first, Herron appeared to be both a romantic partner and a professional ally. He helped plan Garland's and Liza Minnelli's performances at the London Palladium and organized several of Garland's shows in Canada in 1966. But their marriage quickly soured. Within 5 months, the couple had separated. By 1967, their divorce was official, with Garland accusing Herron of physical abuse. Herron denied the claims, insisting he had only struck her in self-defense. The relationship, like so many before it, ended in turmoil. Herron passed away in 1996 from leukemia. Judy Garland and Mickey Deans, 1969 until her death. Judy Garland's shortest marriage was also her last. In 1966, musician Mickey Deans entered her life in an unusual way, by pretending to be a doctor to deliver her a package of stimulant pills. Their relationship was an on-again, off-again whirlwind that spanned 3 years before Deans proposed. On March 15th, 1969, they exchanged vows in a modest ceremony. While a few hundred guests attended, Garland's eldest daughter, Liza Minnelli, refused. Over the phone, she told her mother, "I can't make it, Mama, but I promise I'll come to your next one." Despite the hopeful beginning, their marriage quickly took a dark turn. Deans pressured Garland into performing 6 grueling shows in London, despite her fragile health. He was also accused of manipulating her financially, convincing her to sell personal items as memorabilia, even reportedly passing off cheap jewelry from garage sales as Hollywood treasures. Just 38 days after their wedding, tragedy struck. On June 22, 1969, Deans discovered Garland's lifeless body in the bathroom of their London apartment. The official cause of death was ruled as unintentional overdose of barbiturates. She was only 47. Heartbreakingly, she was found wearing the same dress she had worn at their wedding. Her body was later flown to New York City, where over 20,000 fans lined up to say their final goodbyes. As for Deans, he lived for over 3 decades after Garland's passing, dying in 2003 at the age of 68 from congestive heart failure.